Sunday fixture list of football with two big teams in Italian football. De Winter now, over on that right-hand side in his attacking half. So, majority of the AC Milan outfielders are currently in their attacking half, but Atalanta just pushing them back. Not massively, though, as Pavlovic finds himself with the ball just by the halfway line. Here's Leao dropping in to help out his back line as they look to try and advance forward. It's a lovely flick from Jimenez to the run of Leao, who was coming from that left-hand side, making a run on the inside. But Atalanta are managing to read these passages of play from AC Milan, which just enables them to win the ball back and create safe possession of their own as they look to try and build from the back. Here's Ederson. Just in line with the edge of the centre circle. De Roon will send it over towards that left-hand side for Kolasinac. Nice first-time ball in towards Ederson. Tries to play the first pass towards the winger in Zaluski, but the ball was not able to be fetched from young Polish wing-back. The referee, Zafirli, just cautioning, not with a yellow card, one of the Atalanta players for the foul on Rabiot. Just showing a replay of the goal as play is currently paused. And Ederson was there to pounce on the opportunity as the ball fell to him after a ricochet. Play continues though, as AC Milan look to advance proceedings down their left-hand side, but they're unable to do just that. And here comes De Ketelaere. Now Krstovic. De Ketelaere again, picking it up and driving forward. Not many players in the box for Atalanta as they look to try and get more bodies there, but AC Milan really have a numerical advantage in the penalty area. About 7 yellow shirts compared to about 2 Atalanta ones. And now Atalanta currently just have the ball midway into their attacking half with pretty much every AC Milan outfielder behind the ball. Just able to close them down, Milan. As Atalanta had a nice picture of De Ketelaere being in a good position, just didn't have much support, which was also swarmed out by the defensive line of Milan. Here's Ederson again, picking up the ball in the halfway line. Here's Gabia. He clears it forward and it's taken down by Isak Hien. Now Ederson once again in that left half space, playing it over towards the left touchline for Zaluski, who feeds it back to Ederson. Here's De Roon. First time ball in towards De Ketelaere. Now De Roon again. Switches it over towards that left-hand side for Kolasinac. Now Zaluski. Kolasinac bombing forward in towards the penalty area, now closing in on Mike Maignan. His lofted ball is intercepted by the head of Zappacosta, and now Atalanta looks to try and thread in a neat ball through De Ketelaere. He gets a second go at it after his first attempt was blocked by a yellow shirt. De Ketelaere over towards Zappacosta, just playing the 1-2 between the Belgium and the Italian, and here's Zappacosta, just needs to control his footing, which is what he does, and he slots it past Mike Maignan from close distance, and it's Milan 0, Atalanta 2, just a minute before the half-hour mark. Wow. AC Milan looking at one another. The communication there completely broke down, but Zappacosta did not give that up. They've been getting the ball into really good pictures in the opening third of this game, and Zappacosta nets home his third of the season. Well, that was De Ketelaere linking up with Zappacosta ever so well, and the hold-up play from Krstovic was emphatic. Manages to just side-foot it into the path of Zappacosta. Yes, admittedly, there were a couple of ricochets before Zappacosta ultimately pulled the trigger with his left boot to pass it beyond a helpless Mike Maignan. But they double their lead, and AC Milan are looking down as Atalanta are looking for their 29th win against AC Milan in the Serie A. In fact, Atalanta have not managed to beat Milan in their last 5 games. Well, that could be over, but there is a VAR check. The VAR is Alejandro Di Paolo, and they're looking, I think, to see if it was a handball, which would be harsh. They're just showing the referee cam, which, to be fair, would be pretty useful for the VAR to have a look. Just to get another look of the referee's perspective to see if he may have missed anything from his close distance. But the check's still in progress. The clock's ticking, 30 minutes and 38 seconds at the moment. The thumb is raised by the referee, which I think now shows, yes, the goal stands. Milan now having their evening go from not good to bad. I wouldn't say to very bad just yet, as they do have the ability to come back from these setbacks. However, they need to show more. They need to show far more. Atalanta looking way more composed going forward and just more clinical. And obviously, the scoreline says that. As Atalanta are now 2 to the good. 31 minutes on the clock, and play resumes with an AC Milan kickoff. Here's Bartasaghi. Now Pavlovic. Cross to Gabbia. Now to Vinta. Rabiot now in his own half as he looks up to assess where to go, and he'll play it along the floor to Gabbia. Now Pavlovic. And Bartasaghi's ball is intercepted, but he gets a second go as he just brings it in field, as Bartasaghi likes to drift into that central midfield position. And the player who really likes to drift out wide and then come in field as well is Rafa Leao, who's currently on the ball. Little 1-2 going on between him and Jimenez. They just lose out on the ball right by the touchline. The final touch comes off Rafa Leao, and therefore it will be an Atalanta throw-in, which will be taken by their second goal scorer, Zappacosta. The referee now blows his whistle as Zappacosta launches it down the line. And from his own defensive third, AC Milan win it back in their attacking half. Rabiot with a first-time pass, but it was more of a ball that just looped up in the air. Didn't really have much control over it, Rabiot. And that's why Atalanta regained the ball. 32 and a half minutes on the clock. And here is Kolasinac. Back to his goalkeeper. He's currently got Jimenez closing in on him, but Kolasinac will try and loft it over towards De Ketelaere, and he finds the head of the young Belgium right winger. And a foul is committed by Krstovic, but advantage is played as Bartasaghi drives forward. It's a nice ball played through to Jimenez. He goes for a first-time finish, and that's the first effort on goal, but it is an offside as the assistant referee on the far side raises his flag. But albeit he's in an offside position, he certainly caught it well, and he stung the left palm of Kolasinac. He made a good save to deny a very good effort. Here is the number 42, Scalvini. Now Zappacosta over on this right-hand side, and there will be a yellow card, the first yellow card, and that's awarded to Rafa Leao, who was actually now will face suspension. There's Leao with a late slide challenge in on the young 22-year-old right centre-half, Giorgio Scalvini. He was fouled by Leao. They're just showing at the moment on the monitor the semi-automated offsides. And of course Zappacosta was in an onside position. I thought originally it could be going to a handball as well. But Leao looks to the sky in frustration. He has now been cautioned with a yellow card. Scalvini looks to be in some pain at the moment as he's grimacing on the floor, looking like he's in some pain. But Ederson with a terrific finish, which they're currently showing now. Brilliant work. And Krstovic with a lovely assist. And Zappacosta just juggling with the ball from his right to his left boot. But although it looked fairly unorthodox at the time, He certainly finished it off with some aplomb. So he'll be very happy with how he's helped out his side. Scalvini's back up on his feet, and Atalanta are back playing with the ball now, following that free kick. Here it is, Gabbia. Now Zappacosta. Sloppy passing towards Ederson as Leao now has the ball in the penalty area. Just needs to curl it, and he does, straight into the goalkeeper though. He then cut it on his right-hand side when he received the lovely chip ball played from a midfielder for AC Milan. And then Leao on the left side of the penalty area, cut in on his right, and he just struck it a little too central. He needed to go and aim it more into that corner. But instead, it's the goalkeeper that makes another good save, and fair play to the goalkeeper. And his corner there. And his positioning was good enough as well to deny Leao of a 10th goal in the Serie A this season. Here come Atalanta. The short goal kick is taken from Arnisetti. Final touch comes off a AC Milan player. So Gabbia will play it back to his colleague, who will launch it forward, and now Atalanta win the ball back. Here's Arnisetti. Forward pass into the direction of Ederson. Nice little 1-2 with him and Hein. As Ederson comes forward, drops his shoulder on his right-hand side, and then just flicks the ball behind him towards the number 23 in Kolasinac. Here's Zalewski. Good pass in towards Krstovic. Here's Kolasinac, who tries to loft in a ball, but an offside has been given. I think the player was Kolasinac who was offside. It wasn't a bad attempt. Kolasinac showing his ability to really drive forward from that back three, and actually looked like a bit of a nuisance. Still yet to score a goal this season. With those surging runs, he can certainly allow more opportunities for his side to be made. There could have been one there. Here is Kolasinac now, just keeping the ball in and playing it back to Hein. Here's De Ketelaere from a central position, bringing the ball over towards this right-hand side for Atalanta. Now Zappacosta heading into the Atalanta final third. De Ketelaere just calms things down as he plays it back to Scalvini. I think there's been another offside. Oh no, it's actually Loftus-Cheek who's holding his left shoulder, which isn't good. He went down after colliding with the number 23 for Atalanta in Kolasinac, two players that would have played against each other in the Premier League. And when I say collided, it was more Kolasinac barging into the back of him. And that would be gutting for Loftus-Cheek, who's recently just come back from an injury. Last time he started a game was in their 2-1 win against Pisa, a game in which he actually scored in. And they could do with some goals from midfield at the moment. Been a fairly uninspiring performance from Milan, it has to be said. Leao has looked relatively dangerous at times, but nowhere near the clinical nature that you've seen from him in seasons before. Positively for AC Milan, Loftus-Cheek is up on his feet, standing up tall, but he is just sort of leaning over towards his left, showing his shoulder, I think, to the medical assistant, who's just assessing the situation. Just under 6 minutes to go before the 45 are over. Of course, with the 2 goals and a VAR check, I'm sure there'll be a slight bit of stoppage time added on. Kolasinac will receive the ball after the pass from his goalkeeper in Arnisetti. Here's Kolasinac. He looks up, still with the ball at his feet in that left half space. Now AC Milan players going to close in on him, so Kolasinac then lays it off to Zalewski, and Kolasinac is now on his bike. It's taken down nicely from Ederson, who's hugging the touchline on that left-hand side. There's been a bit of a theme here. When Atalanta get forward, the referee blows his whistle, and players just having to be halted again. 40 minutes on the clock. AC Milan have a free kick. I'm not sure what exactly that was for, but clearly Luca Zafferli saw something worthy of giving AC Milan the ball back. And they need the ball, as they're currently trailing by 2 goals here, just 5 minutes before the half-time break. The interception from Kolasinac once again. But the interception ends up being a long ball, which finds its way back with the back line of AC Milan. Clipped over towards that right-hand side for De Winter. Here's Loftus-Cheek. Aggressive passing towards Jimenez, who left it for the run of Samuel Ricci. Here is De Winter, who's seen a lot of the ball in this first half. Now Loftus-Cheek again. Pavlovic. Linking up nicely with Leao, and that's where his pace can hurt defenders as he bombs into the penalty area, pulls it across. Loftus-Cheek was the target, but an Atalanta shirt got there just before him. They may have another chance as it's bombed forward from Pavlovic, who charges now into the box. AC having to be patient, but the hold-up play on that far side from Salamakers is decent as he curls in a ball with his left boot, struck from outside the area into the ground from Rabiot, who goes to the ground afterwards, his hands on his head, as he feels he should have had a corner kick. Kolasinac is disagreeing, but Rabiot, amongst plenty of other yellow shirts, is certainly having words with the referee, and you can understand why. As it hit the back, I think, of De Ketelaere, and then just trickled behind for a goal kick. And when you're trailing 2 goals, you need corners. You need chances like that. And when you're being denied of it, it may start to feel like it's just one of those evenings. But we do still have a whole other half of football for events to change. Milan 0, Atalanta 2, 42 minutes on the clock, after a controversial call from the goalkeeper to not award a corner. Headed forward from Atalanta after the goal kick is taken from Kolasinac, who fires it towards that front line for the visitors. It's held up by De Ketelaere, who's currently got Pavlovic onto him. But here comes Zappacosta looking to try and zip a ball into the face of goal. He can't do so as AC managed to intercept, and then Rabiot comes forward. He's brought to the ground, and I think that just injects a bit more frustration into the French central midfielder, as he thinks that the Atalanta player who brought him down should have at least been booked, but the referee doesn't think so, and he just asks for play to continue. De Ketelaere there showing his skills. He managed to just turn his man, but then he was supposedly fouled. The referee didn't give anything. 2 minutes to go. AC Milan on the ball on that far side. Here's Matteo Gabbia. Now De Winter. Bringing it in on his left. And he manages to find room for Rabiot to exploit. It's a long-range strike. In fact, it was the number 56, Alexis Salamakers, who was trying to go for the ambitious effort. About 35 yards out. It was a low P-roller, really. Maybe that's a bit belittling of the strike, as there was a bit of power behind it, but not enough to make the goalkeeper get down to his left as quick as he perhaps is needed to do in previous efforts. Loftus-Cheek fouled again. The referee lifting up his left arm to signal the fact that AC Milan have a free kick. And Atalanta are frustrated that decision, but after all, they've just got away of not having a corner, so this is the least they can surely ask for. Loftus-Cheek playing it back to De Winter. Here is Rabiot. Over towards De Winter again. Good hold-up play, but a push in the back from an Atalanta defender makes the AC Milan players irate as they feel that they should have had another free kick. So the question marks will be towards the referee from the Milan faithful and staff from around the ground. And perhaps those listening as well. Long ball from the centre half in De Winter, trying to find a player up top, but instead he finds the goalkeeper for Atalanta taking another goal kick as the ball left play. So just 10 seconds to go on the clock. Allegri having some chat and tactical conversations with his coaching staff. We'll see now how much added on time there will be. So 3 minutes added on here at the end of the first half. The stoppage time period will be kicked off by the goalkeeper. As Carnesecchi takes his goal kick, sends it towards this right-hand side of the Atalanta attack, but it's regained by AC Milan. First time pass from the back line is intercepted by Krstovic, and then Krstovic is judged to have fouled Rabiot. He's been involved with some wars, the industrious midfielder, but good sportsmanship there from Krstovic, who just goes over to high-five Rabiot to just make sure he's okay. Here's De Vinter. These are the cross towards Gabbia. Little 1-2 going on. Now Kolasinac. He loses out on the ball, so instead it'll be the number 31, Pavlovic, who drives forward after bringing it in field from being in a left-sided position. And here come Atalanta, but they're closed down, and AC win it back quickly, but not for long. Zappacosta just tidying things up as he plays it back to the goalkeeper from his right-back position. That long ball from Carnesecchi is collected by Rabiot. And here comes De Vinter. First time pass into the direction of Loftus-Cheek over on that right-hand side. Now Salamakers. Neat little pass in towards the penalty area. They play the 1-2. That's terrific, but Salamakers just tries to dance his way through. And at the beginning of that little dance move, it did work. Just perhaps showed the right-hand side of his run to his defender, who managed to block the attempt very well, coming out with his left leg, which the number 4, Isaac Hein, just stretches out at the right moment. There's Loftus-Cheek again, less than 55 seconds to go of the added 3 following this first half. Those substitutions having to be made following the first half. No injuries for either side, albeit there was a slight scare for Loftus-Cheek. Clearly he's all good to carry on, as he's making runs over towards that right-hand side as well. Salamakers knew he should have done better. The look on his face, the shake of his head, the look at the sky, all leads to the body language of someone who is just frustrated and slightly amazed as well. 10 seconds left on the clock. Here's Ricci. Just showing a bit too much of the ball, but he was fouled. So 3 seconds to go. Eyes on the referee. As Milan look to have the final touch in this first half, which is what they do, but they haven't troubled the goalkeeper for Atalanta. As for the back line of AC Milan, they've been put under pressure on a couple of occasions, and goals from Ederson and more recently Zappacosta is what makes Atalanta the visitors 2-0 up against the hosts at the break. The big 45 up next in just under 15 minutes time. Don't go anywhere. So, welcome back, everyone. The start of the second half is almost upon us. You joined with me, Ollie Ordis, for AC Milan as they take on Atalanta in this second half. It looks like there is going to be a substitution. Yes, there is indeed. Christopher Nkunku is going to come on, the 28-year-old Frenchman. So we'll find out who he replaces. I don't know if it'll be Rafael Leao, although he didn't have the most inspiring of first halves. You feel like with that pace and that skill that he can possess and just make something happen out of nowhere, he's always worth keeping on the pitch. Or he could be coming on for Santiago Jimenez, which, when you think about it out loud, is probably a bit more likely due to the fact that he is making his first start of 2026 and, of course, hasn't actually played a game since, or hadn't actually started a game since October. So we'll really get an idea when the players come out onto the pitch. But the players currently coming out onto the pitch are those in Atalanta colours, ready and waiting as they look to try and finish off the game in remarkable style. 2 goals up to the good as they come into this second period. The goal scorers are Ederson, who got his second goal of the season, and Zappacosta, who of course got his third. And they really did have their shooting boots on. Zappacosta keeping the ball at his feet and then slotting it past Maignan. As for Ederson, he was able to just curl it into that bottom corner and kick things off for Atalanta early on. So Nkunku just having the last bit of water as he looks to come onto the pitch now. The number 18, I think he's also joined with someone else. Just getting confirmation. No, it is just Nkunku, and he is replacing neither of the players I said. It is Ruben Loftus-Cheek, so that is a very attacking change. Of course, Loftus-Cheek did go down in the first half with a slight shoulder injury, so that's probably why he's now been rested, to just make sure he's okay, and he hasn't worked too hard with that injury. But now that means that they've got Rafael Leao, Jimenez, and of course Nkunku all on the pitch at the same time. So that could be a big change. That could really be a big change for this AC Milan side. Well, time will tell. Atalanta, the team to kick things off in the second half. And it'll be another one of those funny, it's not really funny, it's fairly tactical to be honest, one of those new modern day type kick-off routines where the taker just fires it straight down the line and into touch, and it went out towards this left-hand side. It was Raspadori for Atalanta who kicked things off, so Atalanta now shooting from to my left-hand side, and of course Milan to my right, and it's Milan who are currently on the ball as they nod it forward down this right-hand side. The outstretched leg of Hein is able to steer the ball away from a yellow shirt, but they do regain the ball as they've got a throw just in front of Allegri's dugout, and right now he's out of his technical area, really instructing his side, looking animated as he's dressed in a fine black suit. Need to see more coaches in suits, I think. The best attire, I think, for those on the touchline. But anyway, Leao on the ball, firing it off target, but he did have venom behind it, Rafael Leao, and when he does strike it on target, he really can cause issues for the goalkeeper. But Karnasecchi didn't really have to do much as the strike was already not going into the back of the net. Chested down by Gabbia after the goal kick from Karnasecchi. So Ederson trying to just get it beyond the number 46, Gabbia. The foul had been given, so a free kick to be taken. Already in attendance as the Serie A president as he looks on. And Rabiot is going up to the referee to have some words, as we can see from the referee cam. There is one player down for Atalanta, and he'll have to be looked at currently to make sure he's okay. I think the player down is Giorgio Scalvini. In terms of the Serie A, going forward now, you've got one more game tomorrow, and that's Napoli versus Bologna. Of course, Bologna in 10th and 49 points. Napoli really just playing for that second place. They've got Juventus breathing down their necks, but a win for Napoli tomorrow would put them just a point, really, away from securing second spot. Of course, Napoli's last game of the season, the last two games, is Pisa, who are already down, and, of course, Udinese, who are currently in ninth position. Of course, after this game, AC Milan travel to Genoa. In the meantime, there's going to be another substitution, and this one is for Atalanta. The player coming on is, of course, the number 3, Odilon Kusunu, previously of Bayer Leverkusen. He was an unused substitute in the last game against Genoa, but in this game he'll be deployed for pretty much the rest of the second half. And I think he's replaced Scalvini. So on this near side is a throw for AC Milan as play continues. Just get confirmation on who Kusunu has come on for. It is indeed Scalvini, so the youngster has his record of playing 90 minutes over. He's played the last 3 games for Atalanta. He's played every minute of the last 3 games. But due to injury, he's unable to replicate and continue that record. So 49 minutes on the clock. Currently on the ball is their centre-half for AC Milan, De Vinter. Now back to Gabbia. Gabbia will send it over towards this right-hand side for De Vinter. Rabiot. Nice forward pass. Flick towards Zalewski, who is bombing forward, trying to receive that pass made by Jimenez. The foul was committed by an Atalanta player, and AC Milan will have a free kick just taken in their own half. It's floated over towards their left-hand side, held up to Leao, who's just got Ederson onto him, but he'll play it back into his own half, and here's Rabiot just standing in the centre circle, playing it back to the player that originally passed it to him in Samuele Ricci. Here's a good picture for AC Milan as they're in the penalty area, just on the edge now as Leao's brought down and the referee's right arm just orders him to get back up on his feet. To Leao's dismay, here's a chance down the right-hand side for Atalanta to try and get the better of Rabiot, but they can't do that, and Leao's still continuing to contest that decision with the referee to not award a penalty. Could it go to VAR? The shirt was pulled, but the referee had an extremely good view of it, and that's why VAR won't come up now. Here is Leao coming forward as he gets in behind, but there's just a bit of miscommunication to the extent Leao and Jimenez awkwardly fall into one another. And when you've got both your strikers doing that clumsily, it doesn't help anyone. Currently wearing all yellow. Here is Ederson. Playing it to his right-hand side for Kosovo. Kusunu over towards Zappacosta. Impatient with their play at the moment, Atalanta. Kusunu now. Nice lofted ball down the right-hand side from Darun, but Zappacosta's unable to fetch it, so it's another pass forward from a Milan defender, but they win it back high up the pitch, Atalanta, and this is a good picture. Here's Raspadori, takes it on his left, and he fires a brilliant effort into the roof of the net at Maignan near post, and it's 51 minutes on the clock. It's Milan 0, Atalanta 3, and surely that's 3 points for the away side. A terrific effort from the 26-year-old who gets his 3rd goal of the season, back in the starting lineup, back amongst the goals, and that was absolutely brilliant. And it's sloppy, completely sloppy from Samuele Ricci, who's making his first start in 4 games. He tries to backheel it to one of his players over on that far side and then just gifts it away to Ederson, who then plays a really nice ball diagonally towards Raspadori, who then takes it beyond De Vinter. De Vinter manages to close down the angle, but then in a way Raspadori takes it on his left, on the outside with De Vinter, and then he fires it in from an even tighter angle. And now they add on even more pressure on Milan. A terrific goal scored from Giacomo Raspadori. And Atalanta in full control against a helpless Milan side. There's been no fluidity about their play so far. No cutting edge. And it'll be a really disappointing evening if this continues for Milan. They'll have to try and salvage something at least. A performance will not do. The result is all that matters. It's what Allegri said going into the game. This is where the mentality means more. And so far, they're playing like a minnow up against this very well-drilled Atalanta side. Just then, Leao tried sending in a ball, but it went entirely over the targets. And it looks like the Milan fans, some of which are going home. So the San Siro witnessing fans heading for the exits, and it's only 53 minutes on the clock. Clearly they have little faith in their side, but surely you've got to give it a little bit more time than that. I don't know what the bus routes and travel is like around San Siro on a match day, but maybe they've had enough. After all, they're not in the best form. Raspadori could look to try and get another, but he runs forward and he is tackled by De Winter this time. So at the moment, Milan are looking at their 4th defeat in 6 games. Maybe that's why they're heading for the exits. Here's Leao, looking to try and kick-start a comeback. But he has to pass it back to Bartasaghi. He looked up for the switch, just over in that left half space on that far side, but it'll be fizzed over towards Salamakers on this near side. He manages to skip away from his man, but he can't get the better of the Swede Heen, as he manages to send the ball up towards Raspadori. A little bit of sloppy football going on from both sides as they're unable to keep it. And then AC Milan give away a foul, and it's Alexis Salamakers who brings down Nikola Zalewski. Of course, played for Inter Milan last season. Of course, Atalanta, though, they'll be looking at likely booking their spot in the Conference League, given the fact that they can't really finish above 7th. Zappacosta, though, the goal scorer of the second, is going to be replaced by 25-year-old Raul Bellanova, who was an unused substitute in the last game, but now he'll be playing the remaining 35 minutes. So Zappacosta goes off with his head held high, as Luka Modric now is in the stands following his injury, looking on. Gutted he can't help out his side, who are currently really struggling at home here. Leao unable to keep on the ground, actually. What I do mean is keep on his feet. He can keep to the ground as he just fell over. But here is Leao. With a bit of room, he fires it like a rugby shot all the way up into the air. And it looked like it was destined for Rosette. But Leao trying to go for the spectacular long-range thumper, and instead catches a fan in the stand. If there was a fan in that seat, of course, given the fact that a lot more seats are starting to emerge around the San Siro. Of course, with its demolishment soon pending, says a lot that fans would rather go home early than take in any remaining minutes that they'd have before this is completely redone. Throw in for Atalanta on this near side in their defensive third. It's Kolasinac who won the ball. The player who gave it away was Salamakers. Here they come, Atalanta, with room in the midfield. Darun has plenty of time in the centre circle to pick out Bellanova on that right-hand side. De Ketelaere is in support over on that right as well. Here's Darun now in the right half space to his left. Back to De Ketelaere on that right-hand side. Kasunu. Now Bellanova in their final third, just linking up with De Ketelaere as he tries to skill it beyond Ricci. The central midfielder for AC Milan gets the better, and here's the other central midfielder in Rabiot. Now Ricci again, just keeping the ball on his right boot and going down, as he was just fouled there by Charles de Ketelaere, who obstructed Ritchie's ability to just try and take it past him. So more substitutions are being made, and Rafa Leão is off. Frustrated as he pace walks around the side of the pitch. He's going to be replaced by Youssouf Fofana, the midfielder who comes on. And also coming off is Jimenez for Niklas Füllkrug, who is being called upon after not featuring against Sassuolo. And they were 2 goals down. The other substitution, De Winter off. And the Swiss player coming on is Zachary Athakame, the young defender. So bringing on some youth mixed with a bit of experience in Füllkrug, and then someone in the middle of the park in his peak years of Youssouf Fofana. Here's Rabiot, driving forward, waiting for the pass, and now he does pick out the pass. It's not successful for Nkuku. Back to the goalkeeper in Karnasetchi. He sends the ball forward. It's intercepted and then driven forward by Pavlovic, who tries to keep the ball for AC Milan, but the goalkeeper Karnasetchi comes off his line to clear it forward. Just a minute shy of the hour mark, and Atalanta increasing their lead from 2 to 3 following the break through Giacomo Raspadori. Marco Karnasetchi is just down on the floor as he's back up after Füllkrug just lunged down his left leg. In fact, it was Strahinja Pavlovic who was fueled with a lot of energy as he tried closing down Karnasetchi to the extent he just clipped him with a stud. Here come Atalanta again, a brute challenge, or attempt of a challenge from Pavlovic, who wasn't able to dispossess his opponent with his brute force. Atalanta just managing to play through this AC Milan side away from home. Here's Kolasinac. Now Zalewski. The run down the line from the number 13 Ederson, who's dispossessed away by Youssouf Fofana. Now tries to play the first time ball in towards Salamakers. It will be a throw, just goes out before Salamakers tried to play it in field. Zalewski waiting to take his throw just in front of Raffaele Palladino's dugout. And that's a sloppy header away from AC Milan, and the ball's now in the penalty area for Raspadori. Just needs to sort his footing out, but they managed to win it back, AC Milan, through Ritchie, and then a ball sent towards that left-hand side for Nkuku, who beats Kasuna, who's now just pulling up with his right hamstring. That's a worrying sign for Atalanta. Nkuku drives in, cuts in on his right, and then tries to aim for a corner, but instead he fires it well over. Concerned looks around the ground from those wearing red and black. "61 minutes on the clock, and it looked like a worrying sign. It continues to look like a worrying sign as Odilon Kasuna, who came on as a substitute just after the break, is probably going to have to come off, if not definitely going to have to come off, given the fact that he was pulling his right hamstring, or he was just feeling his right hamstring when he was running, and it did look like he was either running slowly, but usually Kasuna is a very quick defender, so when he was running in that posture, you knew it wasn't a good reason. AC Milan fans flinging their arms up in the air, shaking their heads and almost smiling in jest. One person who was definitely not smiling was Rafa Leão, who's on the bench disappointed, and that's a sad sight for the Ivorian, who just comes on after 10 minutes in a year for his side in the World Cup. And you always feel sorry for players when they get injured at this time of the season. Even if the season's completely wrapped up from a team perspective, there's always that chance they may get injured, which could rule them out of an incredible international tournament. Well, coming on is the number 69, Honest Ahanor, the young 18-year-old centre-back, who of course played in the last game, and was replaced by Sead Kolasinac in the starting lineup for this evening. And another player coming on is Mario Pasalic, who is replaces Charles de Ketelaere, who linked up well with some of the players. I think in that first goal for Ederson, he created it down the right-hand side, put the ball into the danger area, and now Ederson was to pounce all the way back in the opening parts of the game when Atalanta started to stamp their authority on this AC Milan side. Here's a great chance though for AC Milan. Nkunku brings it into the box, takes it past 1 and 2, but he fires it low into the goalkeeper, making a terrific save. The ball's now currently with Atalanta, who look to now hit them on the transition down this left-hand side. But what an effort that was, and an even better save. But here's a chance for the number 90, as Krstovic just tries to curl it into that corner. He hits an AC Milan defender. Raspadori keeps it alive, and he'll play it over towards the number 8 in Pasalic. Sends the ball into the box, but it's cleared away, scurried away vigorously. 64 minutes on the clock. Referee just calming down. Ricci just kind of patting his hand down as if to say, chill out. And I suppose when you're in the middle of the park and your side's currently 3-0 down at home, getting stick from the crowd, it can play with your head. And there's the number 24 for AC Milan in Zachary Athikame. Tries to thread a pass through to Salamakers, but instead just gives it right back to Atalanta outside the Atalanta box. And here's Zaluski. All the way back to the goalkeeper in Karnasecchi. The back pass to Karnasecchi, just overhit slightly, which meant the goalkeeper had to sort of sprint on to it towards his left side of the penalty area. Here's Ederson. Now Daru. All the way back to Karnasecchi. He swung in behind, or aimed to get in behind, but Krstovic lays off a neat pass over towards that right-hand side. Will AC Milan win it back? Can they start to make something happen? Could they knock on the door of an incredibly shocking comeback? Well, with passes like that, which just go out of touch from Rabiot, they certainly won't be able to. Still 3-0, and it's a throw into Atalanta. It's Fulkrug. I'm just showing the replay. Managed to link up nicely. Sent a lovely ball over towards Nkunku, who then had a really authoritative run, taking it past multiple members of the Atalanta defence, but then just couldn't quite have the product at the end of that move to beat the goalkeeper. Here's Salamakers. Gets it in on his left-hand side. Lays it back off towards the right for Athikame. He swings in a ball. It's kept alive by Fofana, who just nods it towards Nkunku, who's in that left half space just outside the penalty area. Here's Pavlovic. Back over towards Nkunku. Might want to make something happen from that far left side. Instead, he'll play it towards Bartasagi. Back to Nkunku, who's still in that left half space, and Bartasagi is just hugging the touchline over on that left-hand side. Pavlovic. Over towards Bartasagi. Taking it back. Still continuing with the ball. It's intercepted by the number 8, Mario Pasalic. AC Milan starting to get a bit more joy. It looks like Atalanta could be tiring, albeit they have brought on a cluster of players. AC Milan are certainly enjoying a dominant spell in this game compared to what we've seen so far in the opening 68 minutes. We're currently with the two centre-halves for AC Milan just in their own half. Rabiot playing it forward Fofana linking it up with Rabiot, who keeps on his run. It's a heavy pass in towards the path of Füllkrug. He couldn't keep it under his spell, and the heavy touch means that AC Milan are just forced back a bit. But here's Fofana going from distance and firing it right into the back of his colleague's head in Adrien Rabiot. Which just adds a bit more insult to injury. Not only have you just had a ball hit your face, you also just denied an opportunity for your colleague inside. Allegri going back to his bench with a frustrated look. Secchi with a free kick just in line with the edge of the penalty box to my right, flicked away from Ricci in the AC Milan defensive third. A nice pass from Raspadorian towards Krstovic. Here's a chance. Krstovic just outside the area but couldn't keep it down. The pass, or the touch that was, he was unable to find the room to then pick off a strike, but Edison will fire it in towards Krstovic, who picks out a nice pass over towards that right-hand side as Pasalic threads it through, and Krstovic just fires it over as he hits the advertisement board just behind Maignan goal. It was a really nice layoff from Bellanova, but Krstovic just wasn't able to keep it down and steer it into the back of the net. 69 minutes. Atalanta in full control as they're 3-0 up here at the San Siro. Pass back to the back line. Here is Zachary Athakame, the defender who came on for Koni de Winter. Here is Pavlovic. Steady the ball with his left boot. Sends it across towards his left-hand side. There could be a chance as Ricci keeps his run. The central midfielder looks to try and provide an option, but instead the other number 4 for Atalanta, who just grabbed Ricci by the throat. Well, maybe not. Maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but he grabbed him by the shirt where your chest is, and his left arm was right behind Ricci as well. I'm surprised Isak Hien hasn't actually had anyone come up to him from AC Milan. And it was Ricci who went straight over to Hien as he looked to try and dispossess the number 4 for AC Milan. And then in retaliation, Isak Hien goes straight over to Ricci as if it was a bar brawl. And he was looking to maybe make matters worse, but I think he then realised he had overreacted. And he did look apologetic after that. Actually went down on his knees. Looked like I think he was maybe praying, as if to ask for forgiveness for that act of anger. But he was cautioned by the referee, and he's in the book with a yellow card, so it's still 11 v 11. But for a second I thought it could borderline be a red. But the referee, Luca Zafferli, is happy to keep him on the pitch. Here come Atalanta though, as they could add insult to injury. Krstovic. Still AC Milan though gets so many players behind the ball. Currently the picture, you've got Füllkrug who's the furthest upfield. You've then got Nkunku who's just a bit behind him, and then the other players in Ricci, Rabiot, Salamakers, Bartasaghi, all act like another line of the defence. And it just always gives AC Milan a numerical advantage. However, you can't say it's completely worked for AC Milan. It's shut out Atalanta at times, but they've managed to unlock this AC Milan defence on 3 occasions with 3 well-taken goals. AC Milan now on the attack to try and have one of their own, but Füllkrug with the pass just outside the area, trying to thread it to the run of Bartasaghi, and instead it goes out of touch and out for a goal kick. 72 minutes on the clock. Allegri looking more concerned as the time gets closer to the 90. And of course their next game after this. For Milan is Pisa already down. It should be an easier effort. It was an easier game, I suppose. Goal kick taken. It's actually Genoa who they play next, who of course was the side that Atalanta just drew 0-0 with. Here's Afakimi. This is nice. Salamakers plays it towards Fofana, but coming across him was Hien to get there before him. And then he tries to clear it away, and it comes straight off Salamakers. And he's just having words with Hien. And Hien's continuing to say more aggressive words to Salamakers. I think maybe the number 56, Alexis Salamakers, was wanting to just have his word on Hien after the way he treated his teammate Ricci. So 2 minutes goes by. There's going to be a goal kick for Atalanta. So Carnesecchi to my right, still just the one substitution. No, the 4 substitutions used by Atalanta, and the same also goes for AC Milan. Still yet to see them really make an impact, but Nkunku did have a good opportunity that he fired straight in towards Carnesecchi. He had to make the save, but perhaps it was a fairly routine one for the 25-year-old shot stopper. Nkunku unable to keep it in. Down on the floor was the number 8 Mario Pasalic, who of course played for AC Milan in the 2016-17 season. "16 minutes to go. Here is Honest Ahanor. Plays it back to the goalkeeper, who swings the ball towards that right-hand side as Pasalic is there. Pasalic unable to keep it in. Cleared forward. Headed away by AC Milan. Picked up by Fofana. A fairly fortunate first touch as the ball just sort of bounced underneath his left foot, as if his body, or his left side of the body, was briefly balanced on the ball there, which isn't the most stable move. But they managed to play it forward. Here's a chance! Rattling the woodwork. And the goalkeeper celebrating, although he didn't make a save. He's delighted that his clean sheet is intact, and of course, ultimately, Atalanta's 3-goal lead is still there. One of the Atalanta defenders, though, is down. I mean, the box did get fairly congested, but that's what AC Milan have tried to do on a couple of occasions. They'll try and trick their way into the penalty area, play these zip-quick passes that will hope to unlock the defence. I mean, it almost did. And Nkunku has certainly had the best 2 chances of the game. And when you actually see the replay, it was a save from the goalkeeper. No wonder he was celebrating that like a goal. As he jumps up in the air and punches it with his right arm. And Nkunku just left shocked that he hasn't found the back of the net yet. And when I said he had the best 2 chances, it obviously meant for Milan, as Atalanta have had plenty of their own. But he's been a positive impact since coming on. The spray is out for the leg of one of the Atalanta defenders. And it is Honest Ahanor, who's just having to receive a little bit of a treatment, as the back of his leg was collided into by Raul Bellanova. And that's because it was just a bit of a congested area. Players were just darting towards the ball, whether they were wearing yellow or black and blue. And as Ahanor was down on the ground with his face to goal, Bellanova was charging in, and then as he was falling, his knee hit the back of Ahanor's leg and just gave him a bit of a dead leg, which is why he needed to receive that spray. So Milan 0, Atalanta 3. Maignan with the roll out to Afakame. Here's Salamakers. No foul, as the referee wants play to continue. The Serie A really is refreshing when it comes to seeing games like this, where the referee is happy for the games to continue, even with a slight push. You certainly can tell that the football is still physical over here. And, sometimes I'm left surprised as to why people think the Premier League is the most physical when I've been covering these games. I certainly feel like Serie A has more challenges going in, perhaps. 72.5 minutes. AC Milan have a corner kick on this near side. Didn't come from a real opportunity, just came from a clearance behind the byline, but it's Bartasaghi who plays it in, but it's a poor corner. The in-swinger unable to beat its first man, and it's headed away, but AC Milan still have the ball in their attacking half. Not anymore, as it's played back from Ricci all the way to Maignan, who's midway into his own half. All the Atalanta players now kind of playing in that mid to low block now for the rest of the game, whilst AC Milan try to break them down. But the longer it goes, I think it's fair to say Atalanta have got the 3 points here, unless Milan can produce something incredible. They've got 12 minutes plus stoppage time to do so. Ball over towards that left-hand side. One back by Atalanta. Cleared forward by Isak Hien. Helped out by Honest Ahnor. Milan win it back. On this near side. Here's Fofana, linking up nicely. Here's a great chance for Milan, but it's punched away by Carnesecchi. In fact, it was palmed away. Whether he needed to make that save, I don't know, because Fofana received the ball on the right side of the penalty area. He then tried to pull it across, and rather than the keeper just going down to collect it, he sort of just punched it away with his palm. So he could have easily found another player. I suppose if he knew the danger wasn't there, then he could have got away with it, which he did. But AC Milan are still on the ball, just outside the area. Rabiot goes for goal. Low effort from about 35 yards out, going for that bottom right corner. The keeper was diving, but no save was required as it goes straight into the advertisement board. But it was not that far away. Less than a yard wide from Rabiot, who was searching there for his 7th goal of the season. Of course, the last time Adrien Rabiot scored was the winning goal against Verona in a 1-0 win, and that was their last win, AC Milan. As Estupiñán comes on to join in the action for the final 10 minutes here at the San Siro. Coming on to maybe steady the ship and limit damage. Fofana intercepts, and Estupiñán will have his first touch on the ball in a fairly central position as Pavlovic just makes the overlapping run where Estupiñán feeds him. Back to Estupiñán as he's passed the ball over towards Fofana. Now in the centre circle, over on this near side is Rabiot popping up in this right half space. Now Gabbia. Here's a chance to surge forward once again as Pavlovic looks to try and play a pass in behind. He wanted to play it forward, but he had to play it towards that left-hand side. Estupiñán wrapping his left boot around it. 3-1. And it's Füllkrug who finds the back of the net from just inside the 6-yard box. And that all came from Estupiñán's first time ball played in, where he was able to just fire it into the danger zone and hope a player got a touch, which they did. But I think Füllkrug is in an offside position. I did think originally he perhaps was behind. We will wait and see. Füllkrug reluctant to continue his celebrations as he knows that the VAR is potentially going to come in and spoil his party. And the rest of the San Siros as well, apart from the small minority supporting Atalanta. But it is ruled out. Although it was a good idea from Estupiñán. There was a touch that directed it towards Füllkrug. And the touch from the player, I think it was in Nkuku, when it just came off his boot, Füllkrug was in an offside position. So just over 8 minutes to go of the 90. The goal kick is taken by Carnesecchi. It goes out of touch down this left-hand side from an Atalanta perspective. Zalewski will let the ball bounce. Salamakers will then take the throw. 82 minutes on the clock, and Füllkrug's goal ruled out, which could have got them back in it. and set up a fairly nervy ending for Atalanta, but their 3-goal advantage is still intact after the VAR ruled out the Germans' goal. It would have been the second since signing for AC Milan in the January transfer window. Here's a Stupinian receiving the ball from Pavlovic. Stupinian just feeding it towards Fofana, hoping for the return pass, but Fofana doesn't see it and plays it back to the goalkeeper. Here is Athakame looking to take it forward. Lovely little touch from Salamakers. It was a nice idea, looked nice, but it wasn't successful. So he just tried to flick it back to Athamake and tried to make that run. And instead, Atalanta win it back and Athakame commits a foul. Very quickly from AC Milan as they have a throw of their own. 7 minutes on the clock. Atalanta 3-0 to the good. Closing in now on their first win. And it will now be after 5 games without a win. So their first win in 6 Serie A fixtures against Atalanta. The stripping out. Over on that left-hand side. Every outfield player in the AC Milan attacking half. Thakame playing it towards Salamakers. Laying it back to Pavlovic. Nice lofted ball towards Stupinian, who improvises by using his head to try and find a player in yellow. But the long ball from Atalanta is enough to try and clear their lines, but not for long, as AC Milan just run straight back into their attacking half. Through Fofana now in the middle of the park, over towards Stupinian, and Kuku was the player that was trying to receive that pass from Stupinian, but it just goes beyond him. Still alive here, over on that left half space. Here is Athakame, goes for goal, straight at the goalkeeper, but he parried it once again. We need to see a replay. I don't know whether he needed to parry that or not. Of course, I probably couldn't have done better, but still, parrying can always cause a little bit of trouble, but the trouble isn't there as Atalanta have a goal kick. So 4.5 minutes to go. Unsure with how much stoppage time will be added, given that Atalanta are in such a superior advantage. I don't know if they'll want to play as many minutes. Well, I'm sure AC Milan won't, as they're just looking for the final whistle now. And again, you feel like if they were to have got that goal with Fulkrug, they certainly could have got back into it, just given how momentum shifts so quickly in football, and just half chance is put away. 5 minutes to go. Free kick is taken by Atalanta. AC Milan win it back. Certainly dominated more of the ball in this second half, but just haven't been able to do much with it. Of course, the goalkeeper Nkanasecchi has certainly proved his mettle at times. Fofana laying it off towards Nkuku, who fires it goalwards, and it comes off an Atalanta body. I mean, I say AC Milan are just looking for the final whistle, but they're still playing with such intensity, albeit they haven't really shown what they can do today. They're certainly sprinting to the corner or to the touchline to take the throw as quickly as possible, even though it's such an unlikely opportunity. I suppose that's what makes players elite level athletes, having that never give up mentality. But they're just showing the replay there of Rabiot's effort, which went straight into the leg of Atalanta and then looped behind for a Milan corner kick. Well, if they get a goal here, that certainly would change things. I wouldn't be surprised if it would then add on a bit more stoppage time. The chance on that far side, it's going to be Nkuku. Raises his arm and whips it in with his right, aimed towards the middle of the 6-yard box. It then comes towards Rabiot on this near right-hand side, who's got Mikel Darun straight onto him. Rabiot playing it towards Ricci, but it's a slightly heavy pass that puts Ricci under pressure. But then Ricci's put under so much pressure, he's then fouled by Raspadori, and Ricci has got cramp. That's probably the first time I've seen a player on the losing side get cramp. Usually it's a tactic deployed by the winning side, but not on this occasion. So 2 minutes 30 to go. More defending for Atalanta to do, which they've managed to do well of so far. And AC Milan, coupled with the fact that they haven't really been able to create much. They've got a chance now, a free kick with a Stupinian over it, but it'll be whipped in by Ricci and headed in! And there we go, it's 3-1. A lovely ball from Ricci, about 30 yards out, clipping it over towards Strahinga Pavlovic, the 24-year-old who gets his 4th goal of the season. And could it happen? Well, I'm sure we'll see a fair chunk of added time on now. I'm thinking maybe at least 5 minutes, given the VAR check, the fact that all substitutions have been used, and of course the goal scored by Raspadori. But that was a brilliant header, whipped in towards the left side of the penalty area. Pavlovic was rising high and he nods it into that far corner, just nestling the net with the front of his head. A really good effort there from the defender. And now it's just the 2-goal advantage that Atalanta have. So how will the end of the game go? Well, if AC Milan were to get a goal now, that would really set up an incredible end. And Atalanta will just want to keep the ball now and manage the game, as they've allowed AC Milan a slight glimmer of hope. But a lot would have to go their way now, Milan. Stupinian jumping in on the ball and then fouling his player, but he was actually fouled beforehand. So we've got 1 minute to go. The yellow card has been given to more than one player. I think Rabiot joins the book. Stupinian as well. But what a game we've had this afternoon or this evening. Albeit not for AC Milan fans, it's certainly been entertaining for the neutral. Both sides wanting to attack and really go for it. Albeit AC Milan haven't really had the quality. They've certainly not produced a game where they just not tried. So just having a look, yes, Stupinian has gone into the book, meaning he does miss the next match. So the 90 have been played. Salamakers goes into the book with a Stupinian. Looking fairly annoyed at that decision. 6 minutes added on here at the San Siro. It could happen. It does certainly inject more nerves into Atalanta. Far more than they had 5 minutes ago. 20 seconds into the added 6, still waiting for the goalkeeper to take the free kick in Marco Carnesecchi, but he does so now, sending it down towards his left-hand side, picked up by Zalewski. He'll now try and drive forward down the left-hand side as Atalanta just want to keep the ball as far away from their defensive third as possible, and they managed to get a corner out of that. Zalewski with great work. There's Palladino, the head coach for Atalanta, giving his side more tactical instructions and motivation. He did say that they'll want to send a message going into this game, and they certainly have, showing their quality. As Raspadori goes for goal, it's a curling effort following the short corner taken. He received the short corner and then went in on his right foot and fired it from a left half-space position just outside the penalty area. But here come AC Milan. Through the Swiss Atakame. That's a lovely flick. Fofana's brought down and AC Milan have a penalty. You really could not write this script. AC Milan looked down and out 5 minutes ago, and now they've got a chance to just be a goal down with still 4 minutes to play. Terrific work from Fulkrug, who received the ball, flicked it towards Nkuku, who managed to get beyond Darun, the captain, who then fouled the Frenchman, who fell straight to the floor. And on the 92nd minute, Milan have a penalty and a big, big chance to set up what could be an incredible ending. It's crazy how football operates. AC Milan, for pretty much the entire second half, have looked down and out. And you just felt it was going to be Atalanta's evening. But now the penalty has been confirmed. So we'll go into added time and added time. They're currently 92.5 minutes on the clock of the added 6. The referee, Luca Zafferli, currently having words with the number 46 for AC Milan. 56 even in Salamakers. And stepping up is the player that won it. The player that won the penalty, Nkuku, for his 6th goal of this season, and to set up a really nervy ending for Atalanta. Nkuku up against Carnesecchi, and he fires it in. It's 3-2 now, and he picks up the ball as it falls kindly back into his hands, and he sprints to the halfway line. All of those AC Milan fans that left as if it were a fire drill will be looking at their phones, will be listening to the radio, or even listening to this right now, thinking, why did I leave early? Because this is what football is all about. The fact that you can feel completely done with it, feel that the result is completely determined and won't change. Anything can. It's that classic cliche. And this really is an entertaining watch. So supposedly we've got 2 minutes left of the 6, but given there have been a couple of minutes there, I reckon we've probably got at least 4 minutes to play, which will not appease Atalanta in the slightest. They've let this 3-goal lead just slip away from them, and now they're passing it safely back to the goalkeeper, who's going to have to be on his A game to try and keep the 3 points for Atalanta. Sends it all the way over towards this far corner. There's a push, there's a shove, there's a yellow card for the Swiss, Zachary Athakame. And the other player that goes into the book is Nikola Krstovic, although he didn't push anyone. I think maybe he was antagonising, or perhaps he did react in a fairly spoken manner. The play continues, deep into their final third, AC Milan, but now they're getting it forward. That's a poor pass, it's intercepted by Darun, and now they manage to come forward again. Can they survive this late scare, Atalanta? Well, they're dispossessed, and Ricci will swing a ball towards Nkuku. Estupinian trying to block Pavlovic. Oh no, in fact it's Pasalic who is trying to block. Here is Estupinian trying to play and find Rabiot, who keeps the ball and has a throw. 95 minutes on the clock. Back to Estupinian. He's already on a yellow, so he doesn't want to foul anyone more. The whipped-in delivery, headed away by Atalanta head, and then it's chased down by Raspadori and sent all the way back to Maignan, who's just outside of his box. Here's Ricci once again. From a central position, he sends it all the way over towards Estupinian, who goes down for a moment there. And the number 16, Raul Bellanova, is fouled. And, well, no, he's not fouled. He's the one that did foul, and he's now been put into the books. So a lot of yellow cards have been issued in this second half. And to be fair, that's a shocking challenge from Bellanova. That's such a high foot, hitting the head of Estupinian. And the fact that the referee's just given that a yellow is crazy. But then after all, I was saying earlier how it's a physical game and we like to see it. But I think that was a little bit too far from Bellanova. I think he's lucky to be on the pitch, as that was a really high foot. Studs was showing towards Estupinian's scalp. And now they have a free kick, AC Milan, midway into their own half. On that far side, whipped in by Estupinian. Finds the head and just glances wide. Rabiot and Füllkrug jumping on the floor in pure frustration, as they were both going for the same header. My word, what an ending that could have been. In fact, it was Füllkrug and Allegri with his hands on his head thinking, was that the chance? Well, we're a minute over the added 6 now, but I think there's still at least 1 more minute to play. All eyes on the referee. Atalanta clearing it forward from the halfway line. The ball currently now down on this near side. Midway into the AC Milan half. Thakame playing it towards Ricci. He plays it back to Rabiot. First time pass towards Stupinian, who sends another direct long ball up towards Füllkrug. His first touch is a good one. They've got a chance. Calls for a handball. Referee says no. Could it go to VAR? We'll see. But Raspadori is now on the ball midway into the Atalanta half, and there's a chance now for them to come forward. But an interception from AC Milan means that they're now coming down their left, over towards that left-hand side. Whipped in, but it's a poor delivery, and it goes beyond the byline from Rabiot as he looks in despair, and he knows that could be it. But just before then, the long balls up towards Füllkrug has really worked since he's come on. He's been able to just chest it down effortlessly on a couple of occasions. And he's always had another runner, whether that's Nkunku or Yusuf Fofana, to just sort of latch on to the end of any ball he may provide them. So calls for a handball. I don't think it's going to be given though. And it will be a goal kick. 98.5 minutes on the clock. Surely that will be that. Karnasecchi launching it forward, and the referee blows the full-time whistle. What a game to watch. Entertainment from start and very much till end. Atalanta with a very strong first half performance with goals from Ederson and Zappacosta, and then a fine finish from Raspadori put Atalanta 3 goals up to 0. You thought that AC Milan were then down and out, but the substitutions really made an impact. Coming on to really make his mark was Nkunku, and they weren't able to get the penalty they would have perhaps wanted late on. 2 late goals from AC Milan to diminish the advantage from 3 goals to 1 goal for Atalanta, but they certainly sent a message. Oh, they did. But it ends here after an enthralling end. AC Milan 2, Atalanta 3.